Astrotometry log. It's 4:44 a.m., January 20th, 2010. And I wanted to go ahead and chime in on the questions I've been getting about the Yellowstone caldera. And Yellowstone is a very sensitive, volcanically active area. And I want to go ahead and show the hole that this forecast is for. That's this right here. And I was kind of concerned about volcanoes because of this unusual formation in the center of it right here. And I don't think that this is the Yellowstone caldera. It's possible that it is. That was just a data anomaly there. But you can see the original formation of the hole right here and these two little specks. Now it's possible that that's the Yellowstone caldera. The reason that I am predicting more a equatorial, an event that's more towards the equator, is because right now the Earth is tilted on its axis relative to the sun about 40 or about 20, 21 degrees. And so there's a margin of error in this place, in this area of about 44 degrees. And there are two shadows right here that are lower that could be the time differentiated aftershocks of this event. You see here that there's a spot here and a spot here. Now, if this is the original event, if this is the big event, if this is the hypertime foreshadow of the earthquake, and these are the aftershocks that happen at different times of the day, then the tilt of the axis, almost that whole 44 degrees, is represented right here. And so I went for a latitude that is right around here, as far as the likely latitude of this event. And so it's possible that this event is going to be more northerly, which that would include southern and northern California, and potentially the Yellowstone caldera. But I'm suspecting that my new method that is correct, that these are the aftershocks that are, you can see they're spaced out. If you look at the lateral, they're spaced out in the x coordinate, and in the y coordinate I am attributing that to the tilt of the Earth on its axis. Now it's possible that these are in other places. It's possible that these are unrelated to this one and they're not aftershocks. But that is how I put this particular forecast together. I was suspecting Hawaii because there is a volcanic cloud, a VOG, VOG, over Hawaii right now, and I've been looking for features that are hypersymmetric with the volcanoes, and this might be one of those things. And so that is how I called this. And yes, there are quite a few events happening right now in the Yellowstone caldera. My intuition on this is that it's going to be like the event we had back last December, and that it's going to calm back down fairly soon. I'm not sure about that. I don't know for sure. I definitely, there's a risk right now because of the fact that we're seeing these very large coronal holes. We're in a very active seismic period, and so it could be that this is going to see some activity. I wouldn't say it would be a catastrophic event if it is the Yellowstone caldera, because this is not. I don't think that this is something that would shake, for example, the whole continent by any means. But it is a very large looking event. I think it's being mitigated by, according to the three-dimensional theory, it's being mitigated by the solar X-rays that we're seeing. We're seeing these solar X-rays in astrotometry. This indicates a actually folding of time-space, and so the folded time-space, there's less stress on it as the latitude for the movement is translated into the upper atmosphere rather than being below. So you've got the possibility of you can either change the magnetic field or you can change what's being translated by the magnetic field. This indicates that the Earth is changing the magnetic field rather than the magnetic field changing the Earth. And so this is good for that. The warm finger effects, any of you that are thinking about inconsistencies in the theory, if these were to happen at a time when these X-rays were low, these might be associated with what I call the warm finger effect quakes, which is the same phenomenon that is going from the other direction. In other words, there's instead of the Earth affecting the field's affecting the Earth in the X-ray band. And so you've got the snap that happens in the tectonic plates, the snap and shatter sort of quake that would happen if this had been nominal, and then all of a sudden you get a spike. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that I mentioned in the last video that these are measured in Gauss or nanoteslas. But this says Gauss per square meter over here, and I don't know which is right. There's an inconsistency on the space weather site. Some of the graphs say nanoteslas, and some of them say Gauss per square meter. I think it's in nanoteslas. I'm not sure. And then also you might wonder about this sudden change here. This was a shift in the x-axis too, and so the x-axis of the magnetic field changed at the same time, and so there was a sort of rotation that happened here, and all of these quakes that were happening before were all happening when the x-coordinate of the magnetic field was below zero. So you had the x-coordinate below zero when the z-coordinate went below zero. When the x-coordinate was below zero was when these quakes happened. And so if you're wondering why this drop and no quake, this is the reason. And so there's other factors that play into this, as this will go back, probably will go back below zero as the geomagnetic storm comes in. And so that's the theory for that. And so Yellowstone caldera, possible, but probably not a problem for the immediate future. The most recent, I'll go ahead and go to the most recent coronal hole that is forming. This is the same. This looks like the same area, and so if this is the Yellowstone caldera, it could be shaking for quite a while. And you know, it's difficult to differentiate a large number of small quakes from a single quake using this method. But there again, we have this odd feature that is suspicious in the middle of one of these coronal holes that, you know, could be a sort of volcanic eruption or something like that. I've been looking for a correlation with that. I haven't made it yet. So probably not with the Yellowstone caldera. Probably will calm back down. That's my intuition too. I'm looking for this to be a more southerly quake, but that's this is bleeding edge stuff. And thanks for your interest, and thanks for reviewing this material.